All right, we are out here first day with the van set up. Got my canopy. We got the truck up on the quick jacks. We're going to be doing rear shock absorbers, fan clutch, and repairing one of the VVT Solenoid connectors today. Let's get to it. All right, guys, so we start in the back, getting off the rear wheel. Got my new little pads. I just got those from Harbor Freight. They're actually great. They do stick to multiple surfaces, and I can put a lot of tools and parts in there. Just supporting the rear with a jack so the spring doesn't shoot it open when I get the shock off. Take off the upper nut with the bolt and then remove the lower bolt. I put on the KYBs. I've got the part number there in the video for this. This is a 2010 Toyota Sequoia. Comparing the two, and then as you can see on this one, the hydraulic fluid has leaked out and there's a bunch of buildup of dirt and gunk on there. Getting the new one installed, the fit was pretty tight on the bottom, so I had to use a dead blow hammer, get that put on, get the upper in place, had to use a pry bar and a hammer to kind of move it around to get that aligned, but get it in there and then get it all tightened up top, and then get that bolt in on the bottom. Due to the tire wear, I did recommend a tire rotation, so I'm just getting the tires from the back to the front and vice versa here, and then getting them back installed. Did the same thing on the other side, just recorded one side here. So next, moved on to the fan clutch. There's not going to be a lot of visibility here, but all I'm doing here is there's 4 nuts that hold the fan clutch to the fan clutch pulley, which is on the belt drive, and I'm removing those 4 nuts here. I'll grab the camera here in a second, and I'll show you how I use the screwdriver to hold the pulley in place so that I can loosen these 12 millimeter nuts here on the last one, showing that I pull the screwdriver to the right and loosen the nut. So just getting it off from here. Now that I've got it removed, I did try to remove it out of there without removing the fan shroud, but ultimately that wasn't going to work. So what I had to do is remove that, take out some coolant from the radiator, and then remove the upper radiator hose. I'm just saving this coolant because I'd actually topped it off when I first looked at it. So just setting that aside in a clean container. And there's one bolt on this one that was holding the fan shroud up. The other side just had a zip tie, so remove that one bolt and then removed everything out of there. So just checking the pulleys here, everything looked in good condition. Separating the fan from the fan clutch, I did get the same brand. It's an ASIN. They were the OE supplier on this one. There was a ton of dirt inside the fan, so I went ahead and cleaned all that up off camera. And now getting it back on, getting that installed onto the new fan clutch. And then we'll be reinstalling the fan clutch with the radiator shroud assembly. Once I get all that lined up, I get that set, put the bolt back in. It did take me a while to get the belt realigned, so I actually took out a good amount of video of just me messing with the belt down there because you can't really see it anyway. But now getting the nuts back on the fan clutch, tightening that up. Same thing, holding the pulley with the screwdriver. Getting the radiator hose put back on and topping the coolant back off. And then I did kind of wipe down the top of the radiator because it had a good amount of just coolant residue from a previous service on it. Getting a new zip tie on the other side of the fan shroud. Closing the system up, cleaning it up, and moving on to the VVT Solenoid connector. So this one had a check engine light on when I arrived, P0013, which was an open circuit on bank 1 exhaust variable valve timing solenoid. Ultimately found that the wire was pulled out of the back of the connector. I'm guessing at a previous service, it looked like the drive belt was pretty new, so possibly during the drive belt they just pulled on that connector a little too hard, and that wire was broken. So here I'm just prepping the wires on the new connector. I've already prepped the wires down there on the OE harness, and then I'll show you right here that you can see that the wire was just completely pulled out. That good wire is still in there with the rubber insulation. So unfortunately this AC hose was right on top of everything I was doing, so the camera didn't get a great view. But what I'm doing here is wrapping the wires together and applying solder and then heat shrink. Always remember to get the heat shrink on the wires before you solder it. I almost made the mistake of soldering it before getting that on there, but I did remember, so I got it on there and was able to then solder it and seal it all up. Just doing that to both sides here. I think I slowed it down right here just so you could see the solder joint. Yep, right there. So getting the other side wrapped up, and then I will solder that side. Was in a very tight spot, so it was a little bit hard to get those wires to stay together and then in a position where I could solder it. So here you see I am what's called tinning the tip, and that's just melting some of the solder on the tip. What I do is then place that on the back of the wires, and then on the front, on the top side of the wires, once they get hot enough, I apply the solder. The wires are so hot that it then melts and just flows right into the two wires that are connected. So finish that up. Just use a little torch to heat up the heat shrink. I am using a heat shrink that has the sealant inside, so this should be 100% waterproof. You can see there they're both looking very nice. So next step here is to just get these two wires put back into the wire loom. This is a 15-year-old car. It's got 250,000 miles on it, so it was a bit dry, but I was able to get those wires in there without breaking them. You'll see here I'm showing you the Super 33 Plus electrical tape. This stuff is amazing. It holds in heat, holds in cold. Once you wrap up the wire loom with it, I haven't had an issue with it falling off. So here I'm just showing you the final product. Got it back in the loom, electrical taped up, plugged back in. Well, thank you guys for sticking through the video on this first job I did with the new van setup. I'm still not quite done with the interior. I did get the shelving installed and all my tools in there, but there's a couple more things I want to do before I show it off. So thank you guys for watching. If y'all need any work here in the Austin, Texas area, please reach out.